to our first episode here with, well, Chris left us. He's not here anymore. He's left us out on our own. We tried to hook up our mics, big fail, but this is episode number 1 of hopefully many to come. And we're going to be doing a broad spectrum of things, but primarily focusing on what we do, which, what do we do, Hayley?
Wing it.
We wing it. We wing it. So I'm Adrienne.
I'm Hayley.
And we run a 501c3 nonprofit called For Goodness Snakes 8 here in our community. We are rescuers, rehabilitators, we are therapists, we are all the things. So this podcast hopefully is going to kind of depict our job as rehabbers, what we kind of do in our community. It's going to be really involved with, because what we do is so intricately woven in the keeping element of the animals, not so much breeding, not so much any of that, but because it's like intricately woven with keeping, we want to try to focus on like safe and ethical keeping and the things that we teach about like in our community. So these are our mics. They are just for looks since we couldn't figure them out.
They're props.
They are props. It makes us look more professional, which we are not. And I've also got a list of things that we're going to kind of go over today. I want to try to do in this specific podcast, because we are going to be running 2 podcasts. This one is live on YouTube, and the other one that we're going to be doing is going to be streaming on Spotify, and anywhere that you, Apple Music, anywhere that you listen to your podcasts on. So that is to come. But this one we will be live. We're going to try to go live every Thursday. But Chris told us we can do every other Thursday. Whatever we can handle, because we do have 85 animals here to take care of. So I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about myself, and then I'm going to give Hayley the floor to tell you a little bit about herself, just so that you kind of know who your hosts are and like what we do. So I'm 36 in March. I'll be 36 in March. I have 2 kids. Both are teenagers, and they're both taller than me. I personally have, how many tarantulas do I have? 25, 24.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
15. I have a lot of tarantulas.
14.
I've got, there's 3 up there.
19, 20, 20.
There's 3, 1 here. 20.
Like roughly 22.
22 tarantulas. 7, 8, 9 snakes of all different species. I have an African bush snake. I've got king snakes. I've got boas. I've got pythons. I have 3 dogs. I have 3 cats. I have 9 chickens, including a rooster named Cynthia. And I have 2 bunnies, which we're going to talk about these bunnies probably in the next episode, because the story you can't miss. It's really very funny. And like hundreds and hundreds of arthropods of all kinds, isopods, roaches, all the things. And then, am I missing any animals? Guinea pigs. We just got guinea pigs in. Yes. I'm married. We've been married 2 years, and that's just kind of a little bit. I'm also a stylist. We work in the same salon. So we kind of have our hands on a lot of different things, but a little bit about me. So obviously I have a bunch of animals that I take care of, kids, the whole thing. So I'll let Hayley kind of take over and tell you about her animals, what she keeps. It just helps you with understanding our experience as keepers, etc. So
I have, what do I have? My dog. She's a German Shepherd, Nezrin. How old is she? She's a little
3.
over 2.
She's not 3 yet?
No.
Oh,
she turns 3 the end of July. I have, I think, 15 tarantulas. I think it's 15. I have a bearded dragon, 4 snakes.
5. You only have
4.
4 because
3 ball pythons
adopted out.
and a Pueblo milk snake. Baba Yellowlegs.
What?
Baba Yellowlegs.
Baba Yellowlegs is its name?
Yeah. It's a witch.
And there went all of our viewers. And there went everyone watching us. Okay.
What else?
I think.
Is that it?
You had a frog?
Yeah, African claw frog. I help out with a hedgehog.
Do you have you don't have Leos?
No.
Oh, I have Leos.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have an iguana and 2 tegus and what am I doing? Savannah monitors and Leos. I fibbed you guys. I have a lot more than I said I did. Okay, so I want to start like when we do listener stories, because we are going to do listener stories on this, you guys. It'll be one whole episode of like you all sending us stories about your animals and like just funny stories, scary stories, like whatever you've got for us, we want to know. But I want to start every listener story. That's how I want to start it. I want to know what you have. I want to know what you keep. I want to know your name, all the things. So, that's kind of like why we want to do this introduction the way we're doing it. So that you guys understand who we are, kind of not just here and not just as rehabbers, but in our personal lives as well. Cause I think that's kind of important, especially if you're going to be following along and like learning from us.
Mhm.
I feel like it's like, kind of a personal thing, especially if we're giving you an advice and we're kind of trying to teach you guys the way that we believe is ethical and safe to keep your animals. So, how did we get started? That's the first question that I have for us. I feel like we didn't actually get started. I feel like it just sort of evolved. Yeah, do you think so? Like it just kind of like we I don't even know how to answer that question. We basically had an idea to do, it was Miko.
Yeah.
It was Miko. Okay, so we were rehabbing specifically raccoons, baby raccoons. We work with some rehabbers in our area who are licensed, and we're able to kind of like get our hands on some wildlife as well. And specifically, I took a video of one raccoon and it went viral.
Yeah.
I mean, like 3 million views in a week. So that specific video, when it went viral on TikTok, and TikTok is pretty much the base of where we started, because we were like spending all of our money getting cats spayed and shots and dewormed and taking things to the vet and rehabilitating dozens of opossums and snakes and just all the things. And we were just exhausting all of our resources, and we were like, we have to do something to try to make an income, because every day we were just, how can we make money, how can we make money, and we weren't a nonprofit yet. So it was just this like this thing was born, and it was like this, it started as such a small idea and then it just blew up like overnight, I feel like. And so I think TikTok was really where we got our foot in the door as rehabbers. People respected us. People were like, oh, wow, I like what they're doing. And that's when we started to see an influx of money. And then we had the U-Haul wreck.
Oh my God. That was bad. I don't know how many we had quite a bit of rescues at that time.
We were rescuing
surrenders.
Yeah.
Before that.
Well, because we had, yes. Yeah, we were having people contact us and reach out to us and like, hey, we have this animal that we can no longer care for. And if we couldn't take the animal in, we very much were like, oh, well, we'll just help you rehome it. So we kind of adopted this image of any animal, anytime, like we'll help.
Yeah.
And so people were just contacting us left and right. And then the U-Haul wreck happened. And when the U-Haul wreck happened, I believe at the time we had tons of kittens that year. I probably did 15 kittens myself that year. We had several snakes already. We had leopard geckos already, the Savannah monitor, and we had Salvador. We had one of the tegus already.
Yeah.
And they called us about the U-Haul wreck. And basically what had happened was there was a breeder who was driving where?
He was moving, I think, from Pittsburgh to Michigan, I want to say. Yeah. I think it was Pittsburgh to Michigan. His whole family, like, everything was in this U-Haul.
Everything they owned, yeah. It was their entire life was in this U-Haul.
Yeah.
And they were under the influence, and I won't say a lot about them, but just because they went to court, they did all the things, but I'll leave that aspect of it alone. But when we were called to the scene from law enforcement, which was a big deal because we were actually at the bank,
yeah,
talking about a business loan to get FGS started in that
we were all dressed up.
Yes.
Dress shoes, like, and it was hot that day.
Yeah. And this was a couple years ago. So this is like probably 2.5 years ago. that this call, and this call was the call that we were like, oh my God, we're doing it. Like, we're making it. And it was the law enforcement, local law enforcement. And they were like, hello, we got your phone number from somebody in the community who says that you work with reptiles and tarantulas. We have a U-Haul that is flipped on the interstate going southbound, and he said some crazy number, which obviously they were nervous and a little bit scared. It's not something that you see every day.
60.
He said like 60 snakes.
Yeah.
And then he said a bunch of tarantulas, and I was kind of like, oh, great.
And he said they were all running loose.
Yeah.
In the U-Haul.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, what kind of tarantulas, what kind of snakes? Because we didn't know, this could be a breeder moving venomous pit vipers, or, we just didn't know what we were walking into. And this is literally, you guys, this was the moment that made us who we are today. Yeah. For sure. I mean, are we at 5 minutes yet? Because I almost.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're past that.
Okay, because I'm not allowed to curse for the first 5 minutes. So I'm trying to watch my tongue. But, like, this particular phone call, we were so excited to get. And I hate to say that because it was a rescue mission and things did not end the way that we would have hoped. But we were excited. I remember the feeling that I had when I got that phone call, and I looked at you in our meeting and I was like, dude,
we showed up with nothing.
Yeah, we had nothing. We just knew we had to get there, and we knew we had to help these people because they were going to gas the whole U-Haul, and we just didn't know really what was in there. They said there might be birds. They said there might be other animals. The gas probably wouldn't have affected the reptiles so much, but if there was anything else in there, I mean, obviously it can affect the reptile, but if you know anything about reptiles and you know how they metabolize toxins in their bodies much different than how we do. So
they said, dang, and you saved them all.
We didn't actually save them all. We didn't.
Yeah.
We did, but it ended very badly.
Yeah.
So there were 33 ball pythons, 1 boa, and 2 leopard geckos.
Yes.
That we pulled from the U-Haul. Now, some of the animals we didn't get. They were missing. One. But when we arrived on the scene, basically the U-Haul was upside down. Law enforcement was standing around. Finally, we had gotten there. I had to call my sister and her wife and be like, hey, like, we need pillowcases. We need gloves. We need things. Like, you guys have to help us. So they show up. They've got, I don't know where they even got this.
I don't know. They had like 25 pillowcases. Yes. And like massive ones. She showed up.
Yeah,
and I'm like, how do you have those?
She had like 1 pillowcase with like all these pillowcases stuffed into them. And Haley and I were like, just don't ask questions. Just give us the damn pillowcases.
It's like 95 degrees outside.
It was
so hot.
Yeah, so we start the guys cut open the U-Haul with like a saw.
Yeah.
For cutting metal. Sparks are going everywhere. We're standing there just like waiting. Everybody backs away. And the cop looks at us and he goes, okay, like,
yeah,
do your thing. And we were like, well, what's our thing? So we just like get in there and we start digging through stuff. And these are like, obviously this is like a person's entire life in this U-Haul. And so my sister just like pulls up the first ball python and she's like, I got a snake. And that was it.
They were all loose.
They were loose in the U-Haul, just crawling around. So from that moment on, we were in the newspaper over that. From that moment on, people were like, oh my gosh, we need this. Like, we actually need this in our community. And we got so much recognition. We got so many donations just flowing in. I think that week we got $2,400 from our community to get these snakes medical attention. We had to get them x-rays because they were all like mangled. And so after a few days of working with these snakes, we started to notice that something maybe wasn't right with them. They were acting really strange. All of them had mites, which is what I'm assuming. What did he say?
That's amazing and awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. So after a few days, we noticed that the snakes weren't acting right. They had a weird head wobble. They were just doing some weird things. They had severe stuck shed.
And mites
everywhere.
We were pulling the snakes out of the U-Haul, and we just had mites
crawling all over our skin. Yes.
And it was bad. Mm-hmm. Bad.
And very quickly, this went from all these poor people, all their poor animals, to this is an animal cruelty case. This is not only just a rescue, this is an animal cruelty case, and we are a part of this. This is our opportunity to inform our community that these animals, just because they're scary and just because they're reptilians, they can still be treated badly and they can still be abused, and they are very much treated badly and abused on the trade. And that is the moment when we were just like, this is our calling. This is what we have to do. These animals are defenseless and they are voiceless. So we just started going with it, like rolling with it. People were hiring us left and right for shows. We still do shows left and right.
Nicole said I failed FGSA because of FWC and the HTM.
What's that, Nicole? FWC and HTM. Regardless, thank you for following us and supporting us. Any kind of support obviously is beneficial to our cause. So after that wreck, that is how we really got started. And that was the moment for us that people were like, you are the U-Haul people, you're the snake people.
I heard that
every day for months.
Yes.
And so then after that, phone calls just started pouring in. We got, like I said, $2,400 in donations, and that's when I was like,
Holy Thursday Massacre.
Holy Thursday. Oh, okay, yeah, they shared in their story the other day, right? I just saw that too. I think I'm tracking, but it feels like a Monday even though it's Thursday. Anyway, we were getting phone calls left and right. Then we had our local sheriff took all those reptiles out of that house. Remember Marvin the Martian,
Marvin and
Petunia.
There was some,
and another bearded dragon.
Yes.
Which we adopted out.
Yeah.
And so that was it. We were officially that group.
And that was like the first animal abuse case with reptiles
that we got to be a part of.
Yes.
Yeah. And he was charged, and I'm pretty sure he was convicted of animal cruelty at some capacity. I'm not really sure exactly, but
we've never actually talked about the U-Haul wreck in detail.
No, we have not talked about the U-Haul, but that was the thing. That was the big thing for us. So that would be how we definitely got like started. And the next question I have is like, what do we see happening in the future? So like that was the beginning of us. And throughout the past 2 years since then, we have been escalating so rapidly. It's been really hard for us to keep up with everything. We opened a facility to our public, allowing people to come in and kind of see what we were doing, allowing people to be a part of.
Morgan said, wow, I've never heard this story. That's crazy, and I'm so glad you guys were there.
Thank you. Yes, it was definitely exhilarating, exciting, very sad, because unfortunately all of those snakes, sometimes when we rescue animals, things do not go the way that we had hoped. We spent a lot of money, a lot of time on these snakes, and they all ended up with inclusion body disease. And if you guys know what inclusion is in the reptile world, that's something you are like, no, like if it gets into your collection, you've lost everything. So our local vet, they donated their time and their efforts, and they did help us to euthanize. 16 of them died on their own. 16 ball pythons did die on their own. The rest of them we had euthanized. So it is.
They sent them off.
Yeah, they sent them off to be tested.
Yeah.
For science.
For
yeah.
Science,
so their bodies were donated to science, which they're still trying to figure out inclusion body disease. It's one of those diseases among snakes that, we have a lot of questions and there's not a lot of answers. But we do know what the symptoms are, and we do know what can cause it. Improper living conditions, mites, things, and obviously it's transferable amongst boids and pythons. Your boids, can go months without symptoms, and even sometimes it can lay dormant in them.
It was
So
awful. Like,
yeah, because we had one boy, we had the boa, and it didn't show any symptoms, but still, yet she had to be euthanized because she was exposed, and it took the risk of exposing our collection. We were wearing full body, like hospital gowns, surgical gowns, gloves, shoe coverings. We were F10 and chlorhexidine on everything. We were taking zero risks. And even still, we were struggling to keep it contained. And then there was Goliath from the Humane Society. So we just have had, like, over the course of the last 2 years, we've had some very exhausting encounters and exhausting, rescue missions, and just things that really put us on our ass. I won't lie. Things that kind of flipped us upside down, because it's very much just, we have a board, we have people who are energetic, we have people who are involved, but not like we are. So Hayley and I found ourselves in a position where we had to make some big time decisions about money, about resources, and about our own personal mental health. So in the question of, like, what do we see happening, I do not think that we will ever open another facility to the public.
It was so bad.
We closed over the summer, this past summer. We closed, I think it was towards the end of summer. August, September.
Mm-hmm.
We have been doing some shows with a local event, Belpre Homecoming. It was the night that we were leaving before we went to the beach for my family's beach trip. This was the end of our facility being open. And we did the show at Belpre.
Mm-hmm.
And we had $900 in our account. And the very next day, we had a $2,500 payment to make to keep our facility open. And when I tell you that we busted our asses to get that money, to pay that payment for our rent, to buy us just one more month in that facility. When I was leaving the next morning for the beach, I was a nervous wreck. My immune system was kind of shot because I've just been working so hard to try to make money. And someone donated the last $500 that we needed. Do you remember that girl who donated that $500?
Because we made a post and we were like really transparent.
We were like desperate. We were like, guys, we are desperate. We do not know what we are going to do with all of these animals. We had 100 animals in the facility at the time. And we were like, what are we going to do? Because, like, we can't make our rent.
Yeah.
So fast forward to the day that I was leaving for the beach, that woman donated that $500, and I was like, it was like my switch had just been on the whole time, and I was just like way up here. And then as soon as she donated, I'm like, we can make our payment. And Hayley and I both were just like, oh, we got another month. So in that next month, I made a decision. I was like, we can't keep doing this.
No.
Because we were just exhausted.
Yeah.
I mean, we were selling duck raffles. We were doing like crazy things.
And then working our other jobs.
Yeah. Yes.
That we actually get paid for.
Yeah. And then using the money from our other jobs to facilitate. Because remember, I was like, I have a random credit card with $500 on it. And that was the other $500 that I put towards that last month of rent. And that was it for me. I was just like, I'm done. So we closed to the public. So that's where we're at right now. We're back where we started as far as where we're operating from. Now, as far as, operation goes, we're a lot further along than we've ever been, just because people know who we are and they know what we do, and they're very accommodating to us. But in the future, honestly, I see us being less of a community kind of like spectacle, because that's kind of what we became, and more behind the scenes doing things. So we run an expo. It's called Jungle Jam. It's kind of a reptile expo. We work with ethical breeders who we really love, and we try to get our community as involved as we can. That's pretty much our biggest thing that we do is Jungle Jam. It is beneficial to us because that's how we make the majority of our money. And we just do a lot of other things. Like we'll still continue to do shows. We have taken a back seat on rehabilitation for now. We just don't have the room or the resources currently. But what I do try to do is, and I know you do this too, is give information when it's needed. So like say somebody needs help rehabilitating on their own, then we can kind of tell them exactly how to do that. I do still have 2 rescues that, you know, so the future for FGS 8 is going to be a lot different.
Yep.
We're going to be more online. We're going to be more running shows. We're going to be more helping out our local humane societies, helping out our local rehabbers, just kind of like what we had done before. You know, we've now gone on rescue missions for pigs and horses and goats and
more pigs.
14 pigs was our last rescue mission. So, you know, we're still very much into rescuing and rehoming and things like that. But I think we've just kind of slowed down a little bit. I think we both really needed to take a break from.
And people were taking advantage.
So that's kind of where we're at now. That's kind of where we were. And so this podcast is just going to be really a representation of our time as rehabbers, our time as, you know, opening a facility.
Ashley said, I love the huge hearts you ladies have. I wish we had more rescues for reptiles and tarantulas.
We do need more rescues.
Yeah, and we've rescued tarantulas.
Yeah, we have. Doris Umbridge.
Yeah. She was evil.
Yeah.
That tarantula was evil.
Hence the name.
My God, it was bad.
So the questions that like people have asked me about this podcast specifically are like, what will this podcast be about? This is going to be mostly about safe and ethical keeping. We want to really dive into what we have seen as rehabbers, what we have seen as rescuers, and what separates the good from the bad, and how can you tell the difference? We have walked into situations where people claim to be reptile enthusiasts, and we walk in and it is just devastating. And we don't necessarily believe that people do it on purpose. I think it's a lack of knowledge. I think it's a lack of where do you even find the knowledge? Where can you source good information? How can you tell which breeders are ethical and safe, and which breeders you're going to take your animal home? It's going to have parasites and mites and diseases, and you could potentially risk, you know, what's it called? You could potentially risk infecting your entire collection. We really want to talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's what we do. More or less, this is just what we see. As rescuers, as rehabbers, the ugly is usually what we see. And
a lot of it.
We've learned a lot. We have learned a lot. And we want to share that with everybody who is deciding to watch us, is deciding to follow us. So another question would be about the listener stories, because we also want to hear from our listeners. Like, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see anything that anyone's commenting. Thank God Haley can. Barely. We want to hear from you guys. So obviously starting out, this is going to be a little bit slower. Not a lot of people know we're airing this right now. We plan on really pushing it as time goes on. I believe these will be posted
immediately.
Right. I believe they'll be posted so you can watch them now live, or you can watch them later, right?
Yeah.
So people can go back and watch them as we do them. But I want to get listener stories in.
Yeah. And
I want to hear, you know, there's a lot of people you would never expect that who have stories like ours. And it could be anything. It could be, you know, oh, I got bit by a dog because XYZ happened. We don't care. We want to hear it. And then we'll kind of sift through those, and depending on, you know, how much time we have during our listener episodes, which we think are going to be about 30 minutes, whereas these will be closer to an hour. we'll be reading off listener stories, which I'm so excited about, because that's like the one thing when I listen to a podcast, and that's pretty much all I listen to. When I listen to a podcast, my favorite episodes are always the listener stories, because they're quick, they're short, and you stay engaged. And that's kind of why I wanted to do.
And questions.
Yeah, and questions. Yes.
Yeah.
So, listener episodes, again, we would like to know about you, what you keep, and then your story. And like, even if it's like, oh yeah, I had like 7 black snakes living in my walls and blah blah blah. We just dealt with something like that the other day.
I would love to have that many in my walls.
Yeah. We just dealt with something like that the other day. We had to talk them out of being scared. We were like, listen, guys, this is best case scenario.
Yep.
You have no mice in here.
Nope.
There's likely no copperheads.
Nope.
There's likely no other snakes, because the black snakes do their thing. Like, they're not going to tolerate whatever. So, listener stories will be once a month. So I'm thinking the last Thursday of every month. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
The last Thursday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be giving you guys an email. I don't know, because they're gonna have to send us listener stories. Mm-hmm. So literally our email is just forgoodnesssnakes8@gmail.com. It's too easy. The whole
and I'm sure he can add it in
he can probably add it in the description. forgoodnesssnakes8@gmail. That's the email. It's too easy. So listener stories will be the last Thursday of every month, and we're going to get on and we're going to read your stories that you send to us. And if you have questions, we'd love you to send those to us as well. And I do imagine that listener stories will take a while to get in, because we're probably going to be, nobody starts off with hundreds of thousands of people listening and tuning in. But hopefully we can get to that point. So yeah, they could be funny, scary, anything as long as it involves, animals. We also want to break this podcast up into series. The first series that we're going to be working on is going to be safe and ethical keeping. And then we can kind of break it down into like species specific episodes, or we can do, if you guys have something that you're specifically wondering about, we can do that as well. So what questions do you ask when looking for? Oh yeah, that's something else. I'm thinking out loud. All right. So, I'll always do that. I'm like Mariah Carey on meth. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't cancel us. Anyway, we always say, everyone's like, oh, you guys need a reality show, and we're like, no, that's probably not a good idea.
5 minutes in, cancel.
Yeah, cancel. Oh, so many people have tried to cancel me. Bitch, I'm still here. Anyway. So, no, I said ass a few times. I'm so sorry, Chris. We love you. The series of this next month to come, which we'll make it in March.
I'm loving this right now.
You're watching. Dad's on. Dad's watching. We're going to get grounded. What does it say?
What is that? Or what's that? Listen, I need to get my spectacles adjusted. What is up? What is that? The Python portal.
The Python portal? What a cool effing name. All right. So the importance of safe and ethical keeping is going to be this series. We won't start it until March. And that gives 3 full weeks, because we're going to try to go live every Thursday. Chris, we're going to give you a show. I told you. We're on it. We have Thursdays off, so
this is just the buffer episode.
This is just the beginning of our cancellation.
The buffer.
Yeah, the buffer. Okay, so safe and ethical keeping. I also want to do a little bit of like, how do you source good information? There's so much information out there. A lot of it's incorrect. A lot of it's super old. So where do you go to find good information? I really want to help people understand how to do research. Because you could be researching all day long, but if it's the wrong information, you're still going to get it wrong. So I really want to teach you guys how to source good information, and how do you pick the right breeder? What questions do you ask your breeder? How do you know if you're getting good quality animals? Mm-hmm. How can you tell if a breeder is doing things ethically and safe, so that the animal that you're getting is good quality, it's healthy, and it's going to have a good, long-lasting life?
Nicole said, I'll be here every Thursday. Gotta show support however I can.
Yes, Nicole. We'd love to see it. So again, you guys, like this is just basically, a buffer episode. Next week, What's next week?
Next week.
You done it. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
No, do I?
Is it the
look
last
like
Thursday of the
calendar
month?
man?
Well, you have a phone. Also,
Yes, the 27th.
the 27th. So next Thursday, you guys, is the last Thursday of the month. So we want the listener episodes. This literally worked out perfectly. This could not have been more perfect. So we want to know everything. So if you, again, the email is literally forgoodnesssnakes8@gmail.com. All one word, all written out. FOR, goodness snakes, and the number 8. Right? At Gmail. Why are you laughing at me?
I thought you were gonna spell it all out. I'm like, she's gonna get it wrong.
We're trying to waste
She's
time.
gonna get it wrong.
How long have we been on? Oh my god.
36 minutes.
Hell yeah.
36 minutes.
So yeah, so if you guys have any questions or anything, you can email that email as well. We will be reading emails the night before. Are you hot? Well, we are in the reptile room.
I know.
And the reptile room stays at a spicy 82 degrees.
And chunky girls put off body heat.
Like at 40 minutes. Perfecto. So, anything you'd like to add to our first ever episode? I hope we don't get reprimanded after this.
We're gonna have special guests.
We are gonna have special guests, and we've already picked a couple to start.
Yeah. I don't think you said that before.
Ryan already told me he would come on. So I have a buddy. He's amazing. He works with specifically raptors, like birds of prey. He is an incredible rehabber. And when Ryan and I first met, we actually got into a big fight and didn't like each other. And then we realized that we are both the same exact person, and it was like love at first sight. I love this man. He's one of my best friends. I would literally like jump through fire for him. So it went from this like, F you too, to like now we rehabilitate animals all the time together. He is so intelligent. He knows exactly what he is doing. I have seen him bring things almost to that were literally like you could not, I'd have killed it. And he'll bring them back to life somehow. I don't know how he does it. It's like he is touched by the grace of God to like heal these animals. So he's going to be on. I've talked him into maybe coming in here in about a month or so. We have a couple of friends who work exclusively with dogs. I'd love to bring them in as well. So like I said, yes, we are going to kind of hone in specifically on like reptile keeping, tarantula keeping, the creepy crawlies. But I do want to broaden the spectrum into animals that everyone has and keeps, because I think it's important to add that we also work with those kinds of animals as well. So we'll be doing that. And then listener episodes, what else? Take the floor.
I'm not
Sing a song.
No, it'll immediately get canceled.
Immediately we'll lose all of our watchers. So anyway, guys, so this is gonna be fun. I'm taking this out because it's doing nothing for me. It's just falling out consistently. We will be getting some of our sing. I got my guitar back here, but I can't play it because I have tennis elbow. So it sucks getting old. Anyway, so we will be getting some animals out. I do want to show everybody like kind of like my collection and things like that. Which that's all to come. It'll probably be in listener episodes that we'll be doing more fun things like that. Maybe playing some games just because we can interact through the camera and you guys can see us rather than just like talking through our mics and recording a podcast. So what else? There was something else that I said we were going to talk about today. Oh, feet pics. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're really poor. No.
Why did you say it like that? Oh my god.
I'm just kidding. Actually, they will be reptilian feet. But I feel like, Falcor and his like fucking talons.
Salad fingers. No, Clyde has the salad fingers. You should do a close up and do a voiceover of salad fingers.
I like
feet.
I like rusty spoons. I like to touch them. Oh Oh, if you don't know what salad
Oh.
fingers is, you gotta go and
It's literally like
oh my god,
gold.
I have to tell this story. So I read a is someone saying something?
Nicole said, "How's the birdie? Been working on getting to trust you. Been a while since I last saw you."
Nicole, okay, so she's talking about Marjorie. Marjorie was a sweet bird. Okay, so Marjorie actually went to specifically a bird sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
She needed like hours of one-on-one care, and like my friend Craig, who also said he could come on and do a little like podcasty stuff. He runs a bird sanctuary, specifically for smaller parrots. So
Marjorie scared me.
Marjorie,
She scared me.
I just miss her. I would come through that Marjorie.
She came in my head multiple times.
Yeah, she didn't like us at all. So fortunately, Craig has gotten her to come very far.
Mm-hmm.
And he has other ringnecks, and she's bonded with them, and she was able to kind of come out of her shell a lot. But I read a meme. This is completely off topic, but it is hilarious. That said, I really don't trust people who quote SpongeBob. You too. Can you feel
I
it?
did.
Wow, Mr. Krabs.
I did it one time.
I want to tell the story, but I think it's inappropriate, so I'm gonna not. I don't know like who else watching. Anyway, we both quote SpongeBob and other movies a lot. So if you don't track the movie, just ask, and then you'll have to go watch it so you can understand what we're talking about. Marjorie.
She's adorable. Glad to hear
Oh,
she's
dude, my
doing
goodness.
well and has friends at Suppressions.
I know she's a sweetheart now. She definitely didn't like me or Haley. She was starting to get comfortable with me, but like ringnecks are very, very, very difficult.
I couldn't even come in the ring.
They're difficult birds. Once they've lost trust with humans, it's all over. And she had been purchased and put back and purchased and put back so many times. She was just at the point where, and ringnecks also do not do well in pet stores. So that's why you don't see a lot of them in pet stores, because that you can ruin a ringneck very quickly. So that is so sad. I read that without my glasses. I can't see without my glasses. Anyway, so yeah, so Marjorie's doing well.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the astigmatism. And we also have like a ring light on us, which helps, I think, with the glow of skin. I have bruising all over my face from injections of plasma. We work at a medical spa, so our boss is always like, "Oh, we got these new injections in. Do you guys want to try?" And I'm always like, yeah.
We're guinea pigs.
We are guinea pigs.
Why do they say that?
Does anyone know why they say we're guinea? Maybe that's what they testing, animal testing. Maybe it goes back to like that.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
They're cute.
Google it. Where did the term guinea pig come from? Like when you're, what is that? Why is that a thing? Anyway, guys, so we are about 43 minutes in. Like I said, this first episode will be like 45-ish minutes. So closing up, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and ask them in the comments. And if not, and you want to ask us privately, end the episode with a positive message.
They've been using experimental animals for centuries. Hence the term guinea pig for a human experimental subject.
That's not a positive message.
You told me to Google it.
Well, Chris just said end with a positive message. All right, let's find something positive. I started going to therapy, and I really like it.
I didn't take my Lexapro today.
Oh, I got something. Definitely not positive. Okay, I got something.
What's in the enclosure? Which one?
This is Kiko. She is
all three are ball pythons.
They're all ball pythons here. And then this is a Brachypelma albiceps. I almost called it a Hamari, but it's not a Hamari. It's
not talking about Dolores.
Yeah, it's a Brachypelma albiceps. Okay, so a positive note. We are hosting Jungle Jam on May the 31st. We've got several reptile breeders already signed up to be vendors. We did hire Reptile Adventures out of Columbus, Ohio. He's going to be coming in, putting on a live presentation for us. teaching the kids. There will be some hands-on activities. If you guys are interested at all in coming or being a vendor or anything like that, again, the email is literally forgoodnesssnakes8@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can message us listener stories. You can message us questions or just anything that you'd like to know about the podcast and what we're doing.
I still need a shirt from you guys.
Yes, you do. Oh, I just saw Ashley. She was live on TikTok last night, and I told her that we were going to order some shirts. So we will get you a shirt.
Yeah.
We're going to order some for Jungle
Send us
Jam.
your size.
He already did send me a size,
Okay.
and then I forgot like 8 times. Sorry, I promise. Support.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. We do. We're both members. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
A member?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like a subscriber or a member. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyways,
large and pink or purple.
Pink or purple. I got you. I'll talk to Ashley tonight about. I was supposed to message her today. So we will see you guys next week. We would love to hear some listener tales. If for some reason we don't get listener tales or we don't have enough people chiming in or messaging us, we will do a 30-minute episode. The last Thursday of every month will be a 30-minute episode. And it will be all about you all and our listeners and your stories about your animals. If we can't find that, we'll figure out something to put in that episode. Don't you worry. Feet pics. No, I'm just kidding.
It'll just be close up of Clyde's salad fingers.
Yes. On that note,
for 45 minutes.
We'll see you guys next week. Chris, I don't know how to end this because I